Hey, Donka, I ordered a pizza for after the show. You good for $10? You're watching Best of 3.
Awesome. Intense.
You are watching Best of 3, the weekly FGC talk show brought to you by The Daily Dot. As always, I'm your host, F.A.N.G. Salinas. Happy to be here with my co-host, Michael Donka Schiller. And hey, look, we got rid of the Dot Esports logo up here. We got some esports knickknacks. I put some Street Fighter guys near you, buddy.
It's looking cute. I see that I dared to cross the line.
You crossed the line, and I was like, yep, let's put the poster up. You happy with that?
I typically do that.
All right. This is Best of 3, FGC Talk Show, as I just mentioned. And as always, we are joined by, from Event Hubs, John Velociraptor Guerrero. And, hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
How you guys doing?
Hey, can I just say, now you're not wearing the glasses, you're just such a handsome gentleman, dude. Thank you so much for doing that for our audience. I know that they appreciate it.
My mom told me, man. That's what my mom told me, so that's why I stuck with it.
Also joining us, as always, is writer for The Daily Dot, Ace King off suit, Steven Jurek. Steve, how you feeling, bud?
Man, did we just blow all of our special effects budget?
We did, man. We called in George Lucas, and we hit up ILM, and they're like, we got you. And it's done. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Okay, today on the show, we're going to go through our usual pattern, which is we could talk through some news topics here with our lovely panel. Then, tonight, we have not one, but 2 interviews for you. Of course, we have Isaiah Triforce Johnson, who will be joining us right after our news panel, followed by Nicolas, Kane, Blueriver, Gonzalez, and I hope you guys stick around for that. Also of note, this is a call-in show. If you want to have your question heard live on the air, you can ask your questions to us, share your opinions on the topics we're going to discuss, or ask questions to our invited guests later when they come on. You are more than welcome to do so. Let's get started. John, you were not on the show last week because you were in San Francisco playing early builds of Street Fighter V. I promise I'm not jealous. Tell us how it went.
Oh man, it was amazing. It was a great opportunity, and more than anything, it was fun to play F.A.N.G. As the character that I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on. And he's everything that I thought he was going to be. From the minute they did that breakdown with Combo Fiend and Mike, I saw him and I was like, this character is my character, man. He's the zoner of Street Fighter V in a game that's not too zony. And he absolutely is that. Much more than you'd think, Dalsum is, because, we've explored Dalsum and he's more of a rush downy, and he can play from far away, but he's more rush down than and he was in 4. But F.A.N.G, he's all about the keeping back. He's got the potential to stay away from you much better, I think, than anybody else.
Let me ask you a question real quick, not to interrupt, but the fireballs that he throws, these little poison orbs, they don't have pushback or stun block or anything like that?
Well, okay, his fireballs, the 2 dots, the 2 orbs that go up in an arc, those do. Those are just like a traditional fireball that you'd expect. One of them can take out like a Ryu fireball, but they actually travel kind of independently of each other. They fly at different arcs, which means it's not like when you throw those out there, it's weird because you can tag a fireball and you can also tag the opponent at the same time, depending on which one you throw. It's very interesting. But what I think you're referring to is his V skill, where he throws that really slow-moving poison ball that just goes horizontally. That thing is very different in that it doesn't negate other fireballs, and you can't block it. But once it touches the opponent, they become poisoned.
How long does that last?
The poison itself?
Yeah, and what kind of effect, how fast is his life ticking down, I guess is the question.
Okay, so once the poison actually hits, it lasts for a long time. It's not indefinite, and the opponent can turn it off by hitting F.A.N.G.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's its own game in and of itself. But the drain is not very quick. It's very, very slow, and F.A.N.G's damage doesn't seem to be as high as other characters, but he's got a whole bunch of moves that lead into the poison. So what I'm thinking is, what he does is he hits you with this combo or with whatever it is, either a fireball or he ends a combo with some kind of a poison tactic, and then he kind of scoots away from you, and he gets his damage plus whatever poison damage he ends up with after that. So he has the potential to do more damage than a normal combo would from another character, but he doesn't get it for sure. He's got to play the keep away game. And I didn't count how long the poison actually lasts, if they just let it go and see how long it lasts for. But I'm thinking it's like a good 10 seconds at least.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's like it's a steady amount of damage, and I'm not sure how much it will be. We'll figure that out the second the game drops. Everyone's gonna analyze that and figure it all out. But I will say that the poison stacks, or I'm sorry, it doesn't stack, but restarts the timer. So say he knocks you down and does a poison move, he poisons you, and then he hits you again like 5 seconds later with a different poison move, that's going to restart the timer completely. So he could keep you poisoned throughout the entire match.
Cool. For the record, thank you for letting us use this footage. You shot this footage over there in San Francisco, and it's nice, fresh F.A.N.G footage. Oh, that's the other thing. You told me, we were talking before the show, is it F.A.N.G or F.A.N.G? And you said Combo Fiend answered the question for you, right?
Well, I didn't ask him directly, and I've been calling him F.A.N.G because, I mean, that's what the word looks like to me. Everybody has corrected me and said it's F.A.N.G, but Peter himself says F.A.N.G all the time, so I don't feel too ashamed to call
That's all I
him
needed to
F.A.N.G.
hear, man. It's F.A.N.G as far as I'm concerned.
The pronunciation would probably be F.A.G if you were talking about Chinese, but he's not. His race isn't confirmed or his ethnicity, so you can call him whatever you want. Probably.
He's poisoning you. I mean, it's not. I guess it's not technically venomous, but like a fang, and a snake bite and inject poison. It's fang. It's cooler. Shut up. It's cooler.
Speaking of that poison, can that actually finish a round, or does it take you down to the last part of your life bar, and then you still have to get a solid hit to get the kill?
That's a huge thing. It doesn't kill you. So he can poison you. He can turn on his V trigger and have his big noxious cloud. None of that's going to kill you. He has to actually physically tap you for the last hit. Fireball would work, not his V skill, but his regular fireball, that would work because it does do damage. But no, he actually has to come in and touch you to actually finish the round out.
I wanted to show one of these clips that you got, and it's basically his cross-up kick thing here. Explain to me what we're looking at here. I mean, in Street Fighter 4, you do a cross-up, you're still facing the other direction. Here it looks like he flips around.
His cross-up is weird to me. It's so okay. First off, if he jumps at you and it's in the forward jump and he doesn't cross you up and he presses his roundhouse, which is his cross-up, nothing will come out. He'll do some weird animation and kind of just land. It doesn't come out unless you actually go to the other side of the opponent because the hitbox is actually behind him. And it's this double kicking move that, from what I understood, I couldn't really get it to combo unless it was unless it was counter hit, which is like, what? I've never really seen anything like that before in Street Fighter, where it's a weird like cross-up only move. But he can pair it with his jumping medium kick, which will hit in front. So I guess the mix-up isn't as much as what side he's on. It's more of what side the character is, or the player is making him be on, and then what button they're going to push. This
idea that F.A.N.G could be so unique that he kind of breaks the game a little bit or really changes the meta of the game, you touched on it. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, so first off, I'm really excited for him. I'm going to play him, and I'm hoping that he fits into the mold just right so that he's not a game breaker and so that he's not completely irrelevant. But Street Fighter V is a game where developers have spent a lot of time focusing on trying to make all the characters valid and trying to keep them in this bubble where like they all kind of, I mean, they're all very different in very specific ways, but they're still within what I would call the Street Fighter V bubble or realm. F.A.N.G feels like he definitely could be outside of that. And when you have a character outside of that that's not really playing the footsie game as much, he's actually playing zoning when everybody else is kind of playing footsies and kind of playing rushdown. When he's relying on this poison antic that nobody else has really had before or does, that's super different. And it's a bold move by Capcom. And it's going to be, I think he's going to be the character that they have to work on most to make sure that he fits within the game and doesn't either completely run away with it and be unbeatable or become easily defeated because people figure out that he's just gimmick based or something like that. So again, I'm excited for him, but I feel like he could really break the game in one direction or the other.
He definitely has some, like, and outside of the poison, I mean, the cross-up you mentioned, if you look at the hitboxes on a lot of the jumping moves that cross up in this game, they don't hit that far behind them. You have to really space yourself well to actually hit someone with a cross-up. And importantly to note with that, a lot of characters in Street Fighter V don't have amazing cross-up anti-airs. If you don't have a DP, it typically is a stand jab or something a little worse than that. It's pretty tough to do. He can hit so far behind himself with that jumping heavy kick seemingly. Now, I haven't actually played with it, but it seems like his ability to jump over you and still tag you, regardless of if you try to walk out or not, is going to be greater than other characters. So, I mean, I'm interested to see how that works out. Although maybe you just walk backwards and make it so that the move doesn't come out at all. You know,
I'm playing this clip that you sent or that you produced here, where all of his normals move him forward. First of all, before we get into that, this stage is really cool. I like this stage, man. I'm glad they showed it. But his normals are pretty unique, huh?
Well, the two moves that you're seeing there are his crouching fierce punch and his crouching medium kick, and those are his anti-airs, his go-to normal anti-airs. He can also control the space, obviously, with his arcing fireball. But if someone jumps in on him, I used crouching medium or crouching fierce punch the most. And it's just cool to note that yes, they move him forward, so all that would imply as a zoning character, because if he's really trying to keep people out of the air, you're going to really need those kind of moves to whap him out of there. And so the fact that he kind of moves forward a little bit, it gives him I don't know, just a little that much more space, so it's harder to like do those empty jumps in or fake him out, you know what I mean?
Final thoughts, John, on F.A.N.G?
I'm really excited for him. I hope that he stays relevant, and he's going to be so incredibly frustrating, which I mean, you kind of jump into the villainous role if you play a character like that, but I'm excited to piss some people off.
I mean, that's part of the game, right?
Oh, definitely. I'm excited to try him out too. He looks interesting.
Definitely. Guys, the other thing that was in the news this week, or very recently, in fact, was the fact that Mad Catz, our beloved Mad Catz, beloved for some, put all their eggs in the Rock Band basket, and now the CEO and several executives have quit. Looks like over 60% of their staff is being let go.
It's actually 37%. The 60-some% was reported earlier, but that was a mistake. It's 37.
Okay.
Not to say it's only 37, but it's only 37.
Good to note.
Now, the questions that come to my mind are, what does this mean for the fight sticks? Are we going to see fight sticks anymore? And we can talk more about the fight sticks and controversies regarding that in PS3 and PS4s. But the other question is, what happens to Markman? Is Markman out of a job? We like Markman. He's been kind to us. And most importantly, what happens to the esports Mad Catz sponsorship division, which I think most people would care about? Are these, I mean, they have like it's like the Cobra Kai over there, man. It's like the most stacked roster of OG legends, recognizable names. To think, again, we don't have any confirmation of this. I'd like to know more. That they would potentially no longer be sponsored. That would be a sad day.
It's weird because from our little bubble, I mean, they've been like they've almost monopolized the scene. I mean, Hori's had their own set of sticks, but Mad Catz, since the original TE and SE came out back in 2009, have been really the mainstay of the scene as far as buying a fight stick, and it's been everything's compared to them as far as fight sticks go. So from the FGC standpoint, this is kind of surprising, but I guess from the outside, it's not as surprising. Hopefully they'll be able to remain here, but obviously if the money's not there, I mean.
So my question is, what do we owe Mad Catz? They are responsible for sending Daigo to a bunch of places, Tokido a bunch of places, and you can make the argument that grew the scene by itself. Whether you like those sticks or not, I've only ever owned Mad Catz sticks, and I don't have any complaints. They have put money into the FGC. They've helped grow the FGC. But you see a lot of people saying they're the shitty company. Markman stabbed us all in the back because of the functionality on the PS4. Like you have a lot on both sides. Where do you guys stand?
I'm of the opinion that they probably didn't have much to do with whether or not the old fight sticks were able to be used. And if they did, it's turned out to be that PS3 fight sticks do work on Street Fighter V, as you've mentioned earlier in the show. At which case, I mean, what can you really complain about, in my opinion? I don't know all the details. Maybe they were, parroting, oh, don't let PS3 fight sticks. We want to sell more PS4 fight sticks. But I have no idea. And they've made these sticks, and it's been so hard to get stuff like that available. I mean, the Dreamcast had the green monster, like horrible American buttons that no one wanted to play on. Sorry, Marvel 2 players. And I think that Mad Catz definitely cemented themselves as a partner of the FGC rather than just some, conglomerate selling us sticks and trying to make a bunch of money off of us. So it's sad to see them go. I don't think that criticism should be too high.
We have somebody in chat saying, this is not handled, who I believe is from Austin, Texas, might be David Brown, saying, the losses occurred on the PC hardware, mouse, keyboards, the Rock Band stuff, and the related staff. It's doubtful the FGC products aren't going anywhere. There's too much demand this year. Who knows? Speaking of that demand, a lot of people were expecting to get their TE2s or the TE2 Plus for the launch of Street Fighter V, and now if you go on Amazon.com, it says the earliest you're going to get that is like in March or something. So
that's annoying.
To add salt, to that open wound, there's like a mass cancel your pre-orders going on right now, which I think could really be a like that second punch, right? We'll see how that works out. Again, I bought a T2 at KIT. I'm happy with it. It doesn't have all the functionality that the PS4 controller should have. Whatever. It still is a perfectly functioning stick. I'd be interested to see what happens with Mad Catz going forward.
Honestly, I think, the FGC part of this is so small in comparison to what else is going on. I don't expect big impacts for us, but obviously if they've got to run a tighter ship, and they are, there's going to be some things that are trimmed, whether that's, they don't do as much in the FGC. They don't sponsor some of the smaller events. They're still going to have a presence at the bigger events, but maybe, like the events like Guts, maybe they don't get as much love. Beyond that, I think a lot of this is just stuff that I'm not really qualified to talk about.
Exactly, and ideally we'd have a Markman or somebody here so we could hear it from the horse's mouth. I will say that on the occasion that I've spoken to Matt Dahlgren of Capcom, like this was at EVO, and I was saying, hey, all these sponsors are coming in. You got Sony putting in money and things of that nature. And he goes, hey, but don't forget the people who have been there from the beginning. Your Mad Catz. And he also mentioned Turtle Beach, the headsets, and other smaller sponsors. So that's why I posed the question, do we owe them anything? Should we not be, hey, let's celebrate the fact that they're, in dire straits right now, or whatever the case may be. Whatever. You can have your own opinion on that.
The FGC, though, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, like it's very quick to say negative things a lot of times, and that doesn't mean that's all of. I guess it doesn't mean it's all of the FGC that's thinking that. It just means that those are kind of the loud people that would kind of say negativities like that about Mad Catz. But as far as we're concerned, like if you're just part of the FGC and you don't know anything else about Mad Catz, they're huge. They're a huge part. They sponsor our some of our biggest players. They're at every event, and their products work. If they were as bad as some of the people say, they wouldn't be coming out the way they are. They wouldn't be produced the way they are in such quantities, and you wouldn't see them everywhere, all over the place, constantly. So I think as far as the FGC goes, Mad Catz is huge. Now, yes, like you said, we're lower down as far as Mad Catz as a whole. We're not as big, and so the explosions and the bad things are kind of happening higher up. But I think as far as we go with them, they're awesome. And and I also wanted to say, as far as Markman goes, back in was it July of last year, he had said via Twitter that this very possibly could be his last EVO with Mad Catz. He didn't say why or anything like that, but he went on the record of saying, like, I'm not going to be with the company probably too much longer. I don't know if this has anything to do with that or if he's just ready to go off and do his own thing, but something to ponder.
We have people in the chat. We have a Wonk Donkler saying that Quamba is the future. We have Bowman saying, I went through 4 Mad Catz fight pads in like 4 months. I feel they owe me, LOL. What the hell you doing going through 4 in 4 months, man? You're getting too angry. That's the salt. Yeah, that's you're chucking sticks there at that point. Okay.
But I think that's one of the...
Yeah.
They didn't exactly touch on it, but one of the worst things publicity-wise for them has been their inability to fulfill orders for this, and it's been it doesn't hurt them in the bottom line necessarily as much as the Rock Band stuff, obviously, but this is the point of time when demand is going to be highest. So many people waiting for Street Fighter V to come out to actually get a stick, and now between the Brooks converter, the PS3 backwards compatibility, feels like they've really missed the boat here. They'll still sell what they've got, but it is just a little bit of a missed opportunity for them.
I never saw a Mad Catz fight stick crap out at a grand finals at an Evo. I don't know
You
if that...
brought
like
it
the
up.
Aatrox, dude.
Yeah.
You brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. The fact of the matter is, people have been saying, and supposedly the PS3 sticks will work out of the box on,
That's what they're saying. You plug it in, it detects it, and we're good
which
to go.
is much better than the Mortal Kombat solution where you had to link it up to a DualShock 4 and then, like disconnect the DualShock 4 at the end. It was much more complicated. If this is really plug and play with the PS3 sticks, then yeah, I mean, I think some of the people who canceled their pre-orders for the Mad Catz TE2 will just end up using their old TE1.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's move on to another topic. Not on this show, but on Mike Ross's Capcom Pro Talk, which comes on a couple hours after our show. They're going to finally reveal what we've all been wanting to hear, at least I've been very curious to know, which is the restructuring, the new rules, the new format, if in fact there is one, of the Capcom Pro Tour. I'm going to be that super cool guy and say, I might already know something, but I'm not going to say it because it's not cool to do that. They'll be giving the announcements later. But for you gentlemen, in particular you, Steve, you had some thoughts about this. What would you, what are you expecting to hear? What would you like to hear?
I don't know what I expect to hear outside of the addition of online tournaments, which was pretty much confirmed back in November with the leak of the data and the voice files pointing out the tournament names and the online tournaments. Beyond that, I hope there's not any significant changes. You look at what changed between the 2014 and the 2015 tour, it was night and day, but pretty much every change they made was for the better. It became less focused on the U.S. It was truly a global thing. The calendar worked out so that there were so many great weeks of premier events right at the end. So it was, exciting the entire way through. I think they've got a good thing going. I hope they just don't make drastic changes to it.
You don't want to see the regional areas have their own little pockets.
What are
of
you alluding to,
qualifications.
John? Why would they do something like that?
Well, first of all, I'm not a cool kid that has any information on this beforehand, so I don't know if that's what you're. But we talked about that on this show a couple months back. The idea of isolating certain areas and saying this is your kind of region where someone from your region can win, but not outside of that, something like that, to give. So that Shen doesn't come over and win every freaking tournament in the U.S., or Momochi doesn't do something like that.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to go tune in with Mike Ross, Capcom Pro Talk.
So smug.
Any other final thoughts from our panel before we move on to the highly anticipated interview with Isaiah Triforce Johnson?
I've got nothing of value to add to anything.
That's
I'd
not the
like to
case.
say that I think Steve's hair looks amazing today.
I as well.
Noticing, I did this. I spent 2 hours on this. Just
Oh, I
for
meant your goatee. I didn't mean.
dude.
We had a gentleman by the name of Pyrrhic in the chat saying, oh, he's gone. Ace, come back. I'm about to compliment you. Somebody in chat was saying that you are that person, whoever Pyrrhic is, you are their best of three
He's not
waifu.
coming. He's
Best of
dead.
three waifu.
Damn, I wonder if I'm anyone's best of 3 waifu.
You might be several
Can
people's
we
best of
poll?
three.
You guys need to do a poll on Twitter. You can do that now. We can talk about it next week.
Well,
We're going to do that, John. And thank you very much
press 2. Press 2 for Donka.
Press 2 for Donka.
I pressed 2 for-
Whatever, that's ridiculous. All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us on the panel as always. John bringing your insight with F.A.N.G. and the rest of you bringing your opinions. We are going to now move over. Let's make sure that he's ready to go, although I'm pretty sure that Will, our technical director, is on top of that. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Call-in show.
This is a call-in show, guys. We are about to have Triforce, followed by Kane Blueriver. If you don't know who Isaiah Triforce Johnson is, well, he's the owner, operator, CEO of Empire Arcadia, which, try as you might, you cannot deny that Triforce at least has a good eye for talent. And we'll be talking to him about that and other things. So keep in mind, you can call in and ask your question. It will be heard live on this show. Again, chumps, write their questions in the chat. Real men and women, call in. So, Will, how are we doing with Triforce Johnson? All right. Triforce, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Chat, join me in welcoming Isaiah Triforce Johnson to the show. We can hear you, Triforce. How you doing, man?
I'm fine. Thank you guys for having me on your show.
And
I
look at that!
appreciate it.
And look at that sexy photo that we have for you of you looking out of a presumably airplane window. You're looking sharp, man.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now-
like using that photo anyway.
Yeah, as I mentioned right before you came on, you have a long history in the fighting game community. At some point, and let me list some of these names of people that have been sponsored by Empire Arcadia in the past, and these are no joke.
No, they haven't been sponsored because we have never sponsored anyone. We're not a sponsorship organization. We're a competitive gaming team. So these are people who've been on the team in which we look for sponsors for.
Okay, so these are
a huge
teammates.
misconception.
These are people that have been on Team EMP or Empire Arcadia. We got Justin.
Correct.
Justin Wong, Ricky Ortiz, Dominion, Yipes, Sanford, PR Balrock, K-Brad, Ario, KDZ, Tom Brady, a friend of yours, Flocker, Knuckledew, Craymore, Jaron, Armada, Mewtwo King, and more. I didn't list them all. The question is, Triforce, why aren't any of these guys still EMP?
Better opportunities in terms of what has recently happened in the entire esports ecosystem from the community standpoint. As esports started to gain momentum in the community, and people were able to become more clear in their vision to see where this was going, people who had more money were able to get involved and provide better opportunities for them financially. And so some of these players have left for those financial opportunities. I wasn't able to get us those financial opportunities for whatever the reason, because excuse is not the issue. But so they went and they saw,
right. But how does that work, Triforce? Because you're saying that it's Team EMP, and you essentially, it's like a boon for a sponsor to come because you have these players. If they're being offered money, is it they're being offered to leave EMP or given a different opportunity, or is it sponsors that are wanting to offer more money? I just explain that to me, how that works, that they end up leaving.
Well, there's several different instances, but in the very beginning, we'll start with the very first one. In 2008, EG approached myself and Justin to be sponsored. Well, actually, it's mainly Justin. They were interested in Justin, and they disclosed a certain amount of money that they would like for Justin to have Justin leave EMP and represent the EG brand, which we turned down. Both of us agreed to turn it down. That was in 2008. 2009, this should be no secret, and everyone in the community know, they've somehow got Marn to, since Marn was a part of the organization, to pretty much wiggle Justin out of EMP to leave EMP because of the financial opportunity that EG was offering Justin. So it's pretty much like we have something better. What's your agreement with EMP? I think you should leave them. We can provide you with this, and so forth and so forth. The whole plan was, if we had a team with the greatest players all in one area, then it would make it very easy for us to get sponsors that would support the entire team, and everyone as a whole would benefit. However, players are still individuals, and they have to look out for their own individual interests.
Triforce,
yeah.
So what you're saying is basically EG stole Justin from you guys. Is that fair to say?
No. That's up to interpretation. The reality is that he was in the EMP, and they approached him. They didn't approach me. They approached him through Marn, and they offered him money, and he left and he went to that team. We rectified the situation between him and I, because he served EMP for a very long time, and that was a good thing. The funny thing is, a movie was made of this entire thing called The King of Chinatown. So you can take a look, and they'll give you you can make your own decision from there. But the point is he was offered, and he left, and he went to EG, where he's doing his thing at EG, and I'm happy for him.
Now,
so
Triforce, we have had Justin Wong on the show, and I'm not sure how it came up, but EMP was brought up, and you were brought up, and this is, I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he told us. Triforce is a great friend and person to hang out with and talk to and talk about common interests, whether it's like anime or whatever the hell, but he's not a good manager. How do you respond to that?
There's some truth to that. It depends on what you're specifically looking at. In terms of, there's a lot of bad things I've done in the past with EMP in terms of management, because I was more like a brother or friend with the players, because I was also competing in the games I play and whatnot with the team than I was as an actual manager, where I learned to separate my personal relationship with them from the professional relationship. There wasn't any of that. I kind of blurred the lines and merged the two. So things that I should say no to the players for the better good of the team, because I tried to squeeze and cheat their system to make them happy and then also get the team moving forward, I would do. And those compromises have hurt players in the organization. So in that regard, Justin is definitely right. In terms of me doing the business I need to do to get money brought in to the team, to fund the team and sponsor the team, it doesn't matter what the excuses are or why or who's doing this to me, and the job is to get it done. So the bottom line, I wasn't able to make all the time. I would get a lot of opportunities, especially with Evil Controllers. Justin got sponsored by them, and he got a lot of money for it, but we wasn't able to maintain it for several reasons. And at the end, when you're looking at it from that, bottom line is, yes, I was a bad manager in that regard. But in other regards, in terms of marketing, promoting, advertising the team, keeping the brand together, securing the brand, its legacy, its dynastic roots and those things, I excel well there. So
How can you say that given the current opinion on EMP as a team?
well, that's the opinion. EMP is,
but it's a very common and popular opinion. And I mean, in my own personal research, what I keep hearing over and over again is that, yeah, he's a fine guy as a friend, but on occasion he's taken advantage of players. He has burnt bridges. People have left because of you, left EMP because of you.
Okay, so when I first got into the FGC, it's like late 2002, 2003. From that time all the way to 2009, EMP has had this unpopular public opinion, but we've had all of those players. After the great fallout in 2010, this is when Justin leaves, we've had that negative opinion from the public. When some of the players even returned, we've had that negative opinion about EMP till now. So it isn't that I did anything. We've always had that negative opinion. There's a lot of things that's missing. There are a lot of pieces missing to the entire story. And a lot of people make this because EMP really hasn't ever had a professional platform to be able to tell its side of the story and show some of the things that's going on. If a lot of it is certain people or forces in the community that say negative things about EMP, and it's not fair. A lot of it's allegations, unfounded things, like what happened earlier today. Your demographic asked you guys, could you have me on the show?
That is true. For the record, we were asked by several people, including some that reached out to me personally. We saw it in chat. We got tweets. I got an email. Please have Triforce on. And what I did was immediately go out and reach out to you, and you agreed to come on.
Now that's being a professional. You're doing your job for the people that you service. You reach out to me, but then on Twitter, it is stated that you've chased me down for, I guess, cheap views.
Well, that wasn't said by you or by us, so as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't really matter. That was somebody else commenting.
But it's making my point. Why would that be said? And look who said it. And this is the negative and biased opinions that are formed about EMP constantly for over a decade. And they stated why is anyone giving us a platform, or especially me, a platform to speak when all I'm trying to do is represent my team? So I've been fighting this good fight for 10 years. It's very difficult to be able to fight it if no one's giving me the platform to say my point of view and show some of the things that I have to go through to kind of make get the team to be what it is. You can't, well, not saying you, but you can't contest the facts that the organization, as a team, as a brand, we've won 13 EVO championships. We've had some of the greatest players in the fighting game community, arguably worldwide as a whole, if you're looking at all of the fighting games, not just one, in our organization. That has to speak for something. There has to be a reason why we've had that good. There's also a reason why we've had the bads. So I look at it for what it is. I try to be realistic about it.
The question here isn't about that. Obviously, a lot of people at this point think that you don't deserve the platform to say this at this point. You feel that you do. The real question is, what are you trying to do with it, and what are you trying to say about EMP at this point? Where is EMP going to go, or are you just trying to...
I'm glad you bring that up, because we have a caller on the line that's been waiting that I think is going to ask you that very question. So why don't we bring on Saras? Is that right? Saras, can you hear us?
Hey, Triforce.
Hey, Saras, thank you for coming on the show. What is your question?
Yeah. Hey, Triforce, when you going to start trying to hold niggas, bro?
I'm not sure what that
I'm not even sure what he said, so that wasn't the question. What we had here, our screener wrote down for us, was that he wanted to ask you about the future of Empire Arcadia, talking specifically about Street Fighter V and MKX. So why don't we just go ahead and jump on that? I asked you, is EMP going to make, when we were talking on Skype, I asked you, is EMP going to make a comeback? And you said, what do you mean comeback? We didn't go anywhere. What do you have planned? I mean, Street Fighter V is coming out.
Well,
plenty of love there.
Yes. So now we're in the turning of the age. We're moving from the community aspect of esports, which pretty much was founded by Walter Day. We're going far back as the 80s to where we are now during the Industrial Revolution. The games are changing. EMP hasn't gone anywhere other than me going to Jamaica last year to go do something for Cyberbox in terms of laying down the esports infrastructure in Jamaica, industrial one at that. Last thing we did was Armada and Mewtwo King placed top 5 in Smash Brothers in 2014, and Dominion got 9th at EVO in 2014. And 2015, I pretty much was out of the scene. 2016, we're looking to play Mortal Kombat XL, Street Fighter V, and make our move for Smash Brothers again for Smash Brothers 4.
Are there players that you're courting that say, hey, pick me up or let me be a part of the team? Are you in talks yet?
Well, for Smash Brothers 4 specifically, Smash Brothers, we've always had a division that runs our Smash Brothers competitors for us, which is called Deadly Alliance. In 2005, we made an agreement that Deadly Alliance would come under the esports umbrella of Empire Arcadia and have their players play for us. So every player that's ever played in Empire Arcadia, in Smash Brothers, any of the Smash Brothers, have been a part of that division, Deadly Alliance, which is run by Wes. So we leave him to take care of that, and we have players for Smash Brothers. For Street Fighter V, to answer that question directly, we have our guys that's getting into it, KDZ, Jerron, obviously, who's an OG legend when it comes to Street Fighter V, so he'll be playing that. And we're looking to shop at least 1 or 2 more players to reform a brand new front line for us in Street Fighter. But we don't know if we may go back for anyone old, or we may be looking for someone completely new. But we have our eyes on a couple of guys. For the sake of strategic purposes, I can't say who on your show, because we have enemies in the scene that will literally go and tell guys, and yes, they've done.
Well, that's my question. Why do you want to get back into the scene if people don't necessarily want you here? Is it to prove something to yourself? Is it because you want to do it for the players? Is it for the fact of getting money as a team? What's the purpose of getting back into the scene at this point?
First of all, the scene isn't owned by any one person. That's number one. Number two, the entire scene does not want me out, or does not want me to come back as if I ever left, so to speak. It's
fairly close at this point, I would say. I mean, do you have a backing in the scene?
It's all public opinion. It's all public opinion, because it depends on where you go. It is all public opinion. And to be very honest with you, I have a right to be in the scene just as much as anyone else.
That's totally fair. As part of Team EMP, you guys got well over 10 EVO medals. So, I mean, you guys, again, as you said,
we put in a lot of work. From charity, we've helped put the community. We first got the community on mainstream TV. with MTV in 2006 when we went up to Canada to compete. We represented the U.S. While they represented Canada, and we talked about so many different things and so many different media platforms, from BBC to NBC to ABC, so many times. And we've done all of that work. So I don't have to justify why I need to be in the scene. I'm in the scene because this is what I love to do. Competitive gaming has always been my thing. I've been pushing competitive gaming before the fighting game community even accepted it. They did not like esports. I've been pushing esports the moment I stepped foot in the fighting game community. And back then they were like, Triforce, you're crazy. What are you doing? Get a job. Stop telling these kids to get out. They would make stuff up. They would say
Triforce,
that I'm telling. Yes.
We have some calls coming in here, and they've been sitting here for a while, and I want to be able to get to them. So
Sure.
why don't we bring on Square? Square, can you hear us? You're on the air.
Yes, I can.
Go ahead with your question.
Well, it's two questions. First of all, I just wanted to say, Triforce, I commend, you having, even though the public opinion might not be the best, you still, have the gall to actually show up and talk. But two questions. Number one is, what sort of business background or experience do you have in terms of just regular dealing with agencies and things like that? And number two, you keep calling EMP a development company, but are you maybe confusing the business model, and EMP is more like a type of agency, where it's not so much that you develop the players, but the players, you provide the venues for other companies to get them, but the players would have to pay you. Sort of like a movie agency, type deal.
So you're asking, is he basically an agent and he just doesn't know it?
Yes, because
Okay.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
I can answer both questions in one answer, and I'll try to keep it short. Before the scene was developed to what it is now, everything was being pioneered. So to ask the question whether or not what is my experience, the scene itself doesn't have an experience because we were building it. The experience is based on what we've made it to what it is now. So everyone has a fair amount of experience. I used to do business. I used to run a video game shop and manage a video game shop for Game Express in the Bronx. I've used to work for Nintendo. I've done game testing for Microsoft. So I have a background in the gaming industry as a whole, from retail to technology. So that there's no question there in terms of that. In terms of us being an agency now, Empire Arcadia isn't an agency because I defined the organization what it was before anything even started. Before anyone even accepted the fact that we could even be an agency, we've already defined what we were. We're a development organization, and we use our competitive esports brand team to help push the initiatives of the video game industry, the video game community, and the video game culture. That has been our mission statement for the last 14 years, and it has not changed. The issue here is that the community cannot understand this. Everyone we do business with, whether it may be Cyberbox, Digicel, Nintendo, Mac Multimedia, and any other of these businesses that we've been doing for the last 10 years, they all get it. It's just the community doesn't get it. And let me not say that the whole community get it, because a lot of people in the community get it. But then there are just other people in the community like, we don't understand. And the reality is just, you just don't understand. If I was confused, no one would ever do business with EMP, and we would have died a long time ago, and you wouldn't be talking to me now.
Triforce, we have another call for you. Square, thank you very much for your call. We appreciate you asking. Next caller wants to know about if Mad Catz team goes under. You're on the air. Is this Z?
Hello, this is Z. Yes, I want to say, first of all, to Triforce, if the power glove does not fit, you must acquit. Don't let these guys persecute you. It's too savage. There's no chill on this show whatsoever. My question is this. If the rumors are true and the Mad Catz team does dissolve, what would be your Jamaican esports strategy to acquire a high-profile cyber athlete such as the god Daigo Umehara?
Sounds like a troll question, but I'll humor the question with an answer. First of all, I would never go after Daigo because we have a history of playing against Daigo, and we need someone to play against, and we like to maintain him as a rival. But if let's say, okay, Triforce, let's go for Daigo anyway. We would have to find a sponsor that would be able to give us the funding to be able to pay for Daigo to be in the organization, and then we'd have to have a strategy on how we're going to market him. Why is it that we want Daigo on the team? How does he benefit the team? How does he benefit the brand? What is the purpose of him being in the organization for the community and the industry? All those questions would have to be answered first before we could even consider having him on the team or even go and ask for the money. In terms of, do we have the money to get Daigo? No.
Right. Z, does that satisfy your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, Z, thank you very much for calling in. We're getting a lot of flack here in the chat saying that we're going in hard on you and that we're not being fair and that we're persecuting you. But I'm going to bring up something that you said to me, and this is something that I would like for you to address. Of course, and people like to assume that that I give you all the questions ahead of time. I definitely told you what topics I was going to be bringing up. That is standard practice, by the way. But in speaking to you on Skype, you said this when I told you, is EMP making a comeback? You said, no, we're not making a comeback, but our presence will be renewed. We are the new frontline. We have one mission: destroy the community and sell it out to the industry for industrial revolution, burn it down, and rebuild it on their corpse. Straight Dark Emperor shit. My question to you is, why would you want to burn it down if your peers are the ones that are guiding it? You have Combo Fiend at Capcom, you have Mike Ross at Twitch, you have Jabali doing Killer Instinct, and Brandy doing those tournaments. I mean, the list goes on. Okay. These are not corporate overlords. These are your peers.
So let's bring some context to that. First of all, I told you when we were in the conversation, we have to make sure we mention this, so it brings some type of it evens a playing field in terms of what you just said about me. I said I like speaking in metaphors and poetic views for just that purpose. That's just how I speak sometimes off the record. But let's talk about Burn It Down. I've been saying Burn It Down for the last 3 years, and I think people take it way out of context. You know, I like Dragon Ball Z. I'm an anime fan. I play a lot of video games. So when I speak in terms of certain things, we're talking about Star Wars, Thanos, King Rao from Fist of the North Star, Beerus the Destroyer from Dragon Ball Z. But when we look at the statement in terms of what it really is in reality, let's put some real context to the words, use something people can understand. We need to strip away the entire structure of the FGC, and we need to restructure it to meet the criteria in order for it to survive in the industrial esports age. In that regard,
so do you think it's not doing well right now? Do you think that the FGC is currently not doing well?
It has nothing to do about doing well. It's whether or not it can survive what's coming. That is what I'm looking at. Can the FGC currently, in its state right now, the way it is, survive what is going to happen in esports? If you look at its peers in the other genres, look at the esports scene of MOBA, look at the esports scene in sports, look at the esports scene in the in FPS games, look at the esports scene in RTS games. They all dwarf fighting games by leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
But when you look at the potential of fighting games, you ask yourself this question: why? Fighting games has such a great potential. Why is it so far behind? Because the current structure of the FGC will not work in the industry of esports. So we have to pretty much clean house. We have to fix it up. Certain things that's run a certain way have to change. There's so much work has to be done. Am I the guy to do it? No. And I don't want to be the guy to do it. And I've never suggested that I'm the guy to do it. I'm here for EMP and to represent my part with our team in the FGC, because EMP is, everyone has EMP pegged as this FGC team. EMP is bigger than the FGC. We're in all other types of games, and we've always been that way. It's just that we are recognized because of the dynastic dominance that our brand has had in the fighting game community, which we've already mentioned earlier. So when I say burn it down, build on the corpse. Have you ever played Warcraft 3 when Arthas goes in and kills his father and he says he will burn down his empire and on its ashes?
My point is, Triforce, that nuance, that poeticism that you're trying to put out there is lost on a lot of people, and it makes you lose credibility, in my opinion. People, I mean, even when we were talking, you said I have the eye of God, and I was like, what, you mean like Jesus Christ? And you said no,
and
Thanos.
What did I say?
And I'm like, but what I'm saying is, it in my opinion, again, it kind of hurts the credibility. Now, you're talking about the fact that this esports corporate overlords, it needs to be like it's coming. It sounds a little paranoid, but let me tell you what I think you might be onto something. The esports bubble could potentially be starting when you have Rainbow Six comes out, they announce a pro league. NBA 2K16, we're doing a pro league. It's like everybody wants to market the shit out of their games with esports.
But I said this 3 years ago, and I said it's going to happen.
Correct. But Capcom has gone to great lengths to avoid that very thing. That's why I don't buy necessarily that that the FGC is being mishandled. That's where I don't fully connect. Go ahead.
Now, there's something that you're touching on that's kind of funny when you say Capcom. Capcom's not the FGC. Capcom is one of the greats in the FGC. You see the problem here?
But you cannot deny that Capcom and Street Fighter 4 are the ones that revitalized the FGC and brought it to the point that we're at, and that they stand to do it again with Street Fighter 5. I'm not saying that Capcom is the FGC or that Street Fighter is the FGC, but they are by far the trendsetters, the ones that are dragging us into this new era, whether we want to or not. And I think that they have gone to great lengths to not muddy it with this cash grab kind of thing.
I kind of disagree with that, and I'll explain to you why I disagree with that. Capcom we cannot dispute it. They're an influential force in the fighting game community. However, it's all it takes is money. If Mortal Kombat, if Nintendo said we're giving Evo $1 million for Smash Brothers, Evo turns into a Nintendo tournament. It will literally dwarf Street Fighter, easy. And Nintendo can give away $1 million. It doesn't matter. The issue is that the other fighting game companies do not put in the effort, the amount that Capcom has done in the FGC, and that's why Capcom is the leader. But at the same time,
I think that's a little unfair. I mean, Axis and Arxis put in, a $25,000 pop bonus for BlazBlue the other year.
I did. I also, but see, if you look at my statement, I said they don't put in as much of the effort Capcom has done. Capcom has been doing this for a very long time. Capcom has supported the community more than Axis, Arc, and the rest of these other guys that you've mentioned. I'm not saying that they didn't support them. I'm saying Capcom is the leader in terms of that support. But they are not the FGC alone. They're just one major component of it. It requires the others as well to make up the entire FGC. And then to make the point in terms of who can lead, it's about money. If Tekken came out and said, a $10 million Tekken tournament, Evolution, top 64 people get paid out, it's going to dwarf Street Fighter. If Smash Brothers did it, it'll dwarf Street Fighter. If Marvel did it, it'll dwarf Street Fighter. If anyone does it, it'll dwarf Street Fighter. If Capcom does it, it'll dwarf everyone else. So that's where I'm trying to get you to see what my point is. Mm-hmm. They may have gone through the lengths of trying to keep it going from the industry, but how long do you think it's going to last? When the corporate entities approach Capcom of Japan and say, listen, a Dana White, so to speak, approaches Capcom and says, listen, we see where this can go and you can make a lot of money. And here, we want to give you $200 million to go make Capcom go esports with the rest of the other companies like League of Legends or the games like League of Legends. What do you think Capcom's going to do?
Triforce, I'm going to change the subject here and ask you one last question because unfortunately we have run out of time.
No problem.
I know you to be a Nintendo fan. What do you think of Pokken Tournament?
Wow, that's crazy. Believe it or not, I have not. And this is kind of embarrassing. So I'm a Nintendo fan. I really have not paid any attention to Pokken.
Well,
not one bit. I have no idea. I saw it on the EVO roster, and I was like, okay. I guess that's good, but that's pretty much it.
Well, Triforce, unfortunately, we've run out of time. We did have a couple of calls here left for you, but I'm gonna apologize to the people who are waiting in the call queue here because we've run out of time. Triforce, I hope that you feel that you were treated fairly on this show. A lot of people thought that it would be a waste of everybody's time. I do not think it was a waste of time. I'm glad that you were able to impart some of your knowledge. The idea that we should be vigilant, that we should keep an eye on the interests, seems like a legitimate concern to me, and I'm glad that you brought that out.
Thank you for having me on the show, and you guys did treat me fairly. I appreciate everything, your professionalism, and providing this platform for the other side of things. So.
You got it, Chief. Thank you very much again, and good luck with EMP going forward.
All right, thank you.
All right. I mean, the guy, it strikes me as, I don't want to say paranoid, but he's concerned maybe. But then when you talk to people, you tend to hear them say, he's all talk.
It's no secret that the reason that he's come into light recently is the whole Knuckle Dude dinner thing.
Sure.
And without getting into the logistics of that, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about him. There's a lot of talk about whether anything he says is legitimate. I think that some of his points are fair, and I think it's worth giving a listen for that reason. And I don't have that much else to say about it. I disagree on a few fronts. I don't think that Capcom is solely there because of the amount of money they put in. And I think we've seen other games such as Blaze Blue at EVO, such as Dead or Alive at like every tournament over the past 2 years, have money thrown at them and not even come close to touching Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat X, geez, Sonic Fox alone has won, and he's won everything. But I mean, he's won over $100,000 or whatever playing the game at this point. There's something to be said about why people like the game and how long they've been in the scene as to why they're so popular. It's not just the money, and that's been proven.
I'm surprised. Maybe Ian, our screen caller, is just that good that we didn't get any damn questions about that. When people asked for Triforce to come on the show, they specifically were asking to bring him on so that we could discuss this Dine and Dash thing,
and
which
it's
I think is a
been
waste
discussed.
of time.
I mean, he's been on shows. It's been an
exactly.
on blast show. It's been done. I think we talked. Yeah, I mean, I'll let you go further into it.
No, you're good. No, by all means. I mean, that's the point. The thing is, we're still waiting on KBR, by the way. We're having a little bit of trouble getting a hold of him, but he will be joining us. And I'll remind you, first, let me apologize to anybody who didn't get their call in. I'm sorry we ran out of time. But KBR will be on, and if you have any questions for him, I know we have questions for him, he'll be on momentarily. It appears as though... Okay, he's ready. Nicolas, Kane, Blueriver, Gonzalez, are you there with us?
Yes. Hi there, F.A.N.G. Hi there, Danke. How are you two doing?
Hey, KBR. If anybody who doesn't know, this is, I was telling Danke before the show, I read an article on Polygon.com back in 2013 that basically described you, KBR, as one of the world warriors from Street Fighter, just traveling the globe, finding the next fight, trying to level up. How did you feel when an article like that came out? And if you don't know, KBR just recently, in 2015, is the EVO champion for Marvel.
Well, to be honest, the person that interviewed me for that article, we talked for a long time. He did a pretty deep research on me. He asked me a lot of stuff about my life. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, like before fighting games and at the beginning of the road. So I was really happy to have gotten to a point where I could have where people consider me like that. And especially because I had gotten signs of that I have acquired the respect of some players that I was only able to watch from afar for a really long time before that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's as somebody who has worked in the journalism field for a while, it's a beautifully written article. I recommend everybody go check it out because it does have a lot of information on you and your story and how you came to be and, your trials and tribulations going to college and things of that nature. Now, and this is where I'm going to get shit from the chat, not everybody, but the public persona that you have in the FGC is not that flowery. It's people call you, you see those memes of the picture of the DuckTales, right? And you're ducking people and they're making fun of you for doing that. People make fun of you for couch surfing and being somewhat of a freeloader, which, is is the no spin version of being a World Warrior. How do you feel about being put in this, public arena, right? You're just a guy that plays games, but by default, Evo champ, you make a name for yourself, people start to have opinions on you. How does that feel as a human being?
Honestly, I used to care for that kind of stuff a long time ago while I was growing up. It hit me kind of hard, but nowadays I don't really care for what people that have no relevance to me, people that have nothing to do with me have to say. Like, if they think like that, it's okay by them, but they don't know most of the stuff that that people don't see, that I have to go through to be able to. I have to go through to be able to just do this. So, given the situation I was, and given how hard it can get down here, it's not something I really have problems doing. Like, I've been able to do a lot, and it's a lot better than if I had spent those 4 years so far, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, almost like 3.5 years that I've been doing this. It's been definitely way, way better than if I had just stayed here following my standard life, so to say.
Mm-hmm. Kane, we have a call for you. This is a call from Anthony. Anthony, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Anthony. You are on the air live, and we have Kane Blueriver eagerly anticipating your question.
Oh, all right. Hello again, Blueriver. You've had a bunch of bad rap saying that you don't represent the Evo title champion as fairly as you should have. You've also had some embarrassing moments as such since you've won Evo, like modding your Evo stick with Persona art, and lost a bunch of local players in, towards your, I guess, your reputation. Do you think you are worthy representation of the UNBC3 scene?
Damn. That's a tough question. I'm going to let Kane Blueriver answer that.
Oh, sorry. Worthy of what? What was the end? I couldn't hear that well.
The question that he asked essentially boils down to, are you a worthy champion of Marvel vs. Capcom 3? My opinion right off the bat is that you won, so of course you are, but let's let
KBR answer that.
I don't think like you have to be worthy of something. Like, life is unfair, and if you don't like it that I want Evo, then it's okay. You're in all your right, but I don't think it's a thing of fairness, honestly. I do think that I would have liked to be able to, of course, do more, play more, but it's just that circumstances won't let me. I mean, I have to plan out the whole year from beforehand, and of course, I couldn't plan that. Of course, I couldn't plan that I was going to win Evo. So I had already everything, like my whole year planned for after Evo. So, and I was not going to change that. I also have responsibilities here back at home, and sadly, being down here definitely hinders on my skill. It makes me worse because I don't have possibilities of getting high-level practice. But I'm not really worried about like just winning a single tournament. Just focus on improving, and that's what worries me. Like, just trying to get better, not like winning established tournaments.
What's interesting to me is you say that that's your motivation is, just to get better. And obviously your results have been very good. You're the Evo champion. You've done well and won and placed at pretty much most of the majors you've gone to as a general rule. When you're set up to and, promoted on to play Filipino champ in this money match, to come to tournaments, to not dodge per se, what at this point is your goal? Do you even want to play Filipino champ in this money match, or do you feel like at this point you're really just being pushed into it?
You're talking about the Winter Brawl.
Yes, the Winter Brawl match. Like, is this what you want to do, or is this what you feel like you have to do?
I don't feel I have to do it at all.
You shouldn't.
I don't feel at all that it's something I have to do. I don't feel I'm not doing it for as an obligation. It's if we could put it that way. I was given the opportunity, and taking the opportunity will mean for me that I was going to be able to actually have a 2016 season. So by all means, it looks like it's always great to be It's always great to be able to play a player of such caliber in long sets. To be honest, it's just that I honestly won't like to do anything that gives publicity to that kind of person, separate from player. But since I was given this opportunity, and like this opportunity is really important for me, especially since Street Fighter V is coming out next week, and it's going to be the big thing this year, and it can definitely help me reach my goals. It's definitely a season I cannot miss, and since I was given the opportunity for achieving that, for being able to have a season this year, then by all means, let's do it.
You know, what strikes me as interesting is, and we had F.Champ on the show before, and he said nobody can take away that Evo win from him. He deserved it. He won it. He deserves it. But if he had faced me, he would not have advanced and then, of course, made it to gone on to win the tournament. If I'm not mistaken, you have echoed the exact same sentiment, saying, yeah, no shit, I would not have won if I had faced him.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not asking you how you think you'll do at this tournament. What I'm going to ask you is, to beat F.Champ, what do I have to do? Finish that thought.
Okay, that's an interesting question, actually. To begin with, I'm probably F.Champ is probably one of the 3 most difficult players to beat for me and for the combination of me and my team. The whole high-level Marvel play, because of F.Champ's skill, F.Champ's access to resources, F.Champ's team. But the thing is that, for example, in tournaments, you need to be the best to win a tournament. But if you're truly the best in the field, you will win every single tournament. Let's begin by that. And the only person I've seen doing that in Marvel 3 has been Chris G during his well-known 2013 season, if I remember clearly, where he won pretty much everything outside of Evo. So taking that into account, I can see who does F.Champ loses to. I don't know regularly, but maybe has better odds. And I see that F.Champ usually struggles against Clockwork. F.Champ kind of struggles against Cloud. Not in a losing position, but goes kind of even. Or
are you going to change your team up then?
I've been working for quite a while in other teams. I actually, this is not documented because all the archives were lost, but I actually beat Cloud and a couple other players. I beat Cloud in Grand Finals at Undefeated of the Southwest last year, 2 weeks before Evo, playing Pierre Rock's team. And not many people will remember that. And actually, I was really fortunate I was able to win that tournament because it helped me a great bunch. But definitely showed me that I'm actually able to play other teams and do at least decently with them. So I'm definitely going. I've been working on other stuff for a while. So since it's a very long set, it's first to 15. I think that I'll definitely be able to find out what, if anything, of what I've been working on can help me take this down.
KBR, we have a call for you. This call is from Hamad. Hey, Hamad, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, F.A.N.G. How you guys doing? What's up, KBR? How you doing, man? Doing good?
Doing good, Hamad. Thank you.
Go ahead, Hamad, with your question.
So I'm calling today because I don't know if this is true, but I was hearing that basically when the KBR, when you versus F.Champ came up, that you kind of were saying that, I might lose because of the bad matchup, and then there was some things about the set that didn't get sorted out. The way I look at it is, yeah, it's a bad matchup for you, but if you're a great player, no matter what, you will play bad matchups. I play Fei-Long Elena willingly in tournament and in set. If Champs tomorrow told me, hey, let's play Street Fighter V exhibition for $1,000, first to 5, I would tell him, I don't care, I'll play you. I'll just play you because you know what? At the end of the day, we'll see who's better. and I'll put my money where my mouth is. So like in this way, the way I feel is like you are the Evo champion. No one can take away anything that you did in Evo. We could replay Evo for any game, and 365 days out of the year, it would be a different winner. Okay? That doesn't take away from your win. You are the champion in this reality. So like, people have to hold that shit. I'm sorry. But straight up, if he calls you out, the thing you say is, okay, we meet and we play. And so at Winter Brawl, that's exactly what should have happened. So I want your take on why that didn't happen and there was like option selecting happening.
I won't give any excuses for losing. Really, if I lose, I mean, actually, probably both. Even if I win, which is like completely against the odds, I still think F.Champ is a stronger player than me because of history of results, resources, experience, a lot of factors. So it's for me, it's not to prove who is the better player. Honestly, it's just an opportunity to have an extended session with one of the best players of the game. That's it. But for me, I'm not playing here for bragging rights.
Hamad, thank you very much for your call, buddy.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
KBR, does it surprise you how emotional or invested people get into this matchup?
And yeah, that's the other question that's going further into what Hamad said. How do you feel about people thinking that you not accepting the matchup in the first place is an option select?
Like I said, I have no problem playing anyone. Like for me, it's like really, really hard to get to be able to actually play like really, really good players. And at SCR in particular, I was going through a rough time because of a lot of stuff that was going on with me, like personally. Mm-hmm. And that's why during that weekend I had no desire to play at all. I just wanted to hang out and say my goodbyes to people because I didn't even know when I will see a lot of good people I met during these trials. I never know when I'll be able to see those people again because it's really hard for me to make it out there in the first place. But in the particular case of F.Champ, I've seen the kind of stuff he says. I've heard it, and it was, of course, it gave me like all the reason. Like it definitely made me feel I was right on what I thought, that it's not a person I want to. It's not a person I want to like help get any attention from anywhere. Like, I'm not surprised that there's people like that. I'm more surprised that there's so many people willing to listen to people like that.
KBR, we have another call for you, and if I'm not mistaken, it's from Z again. Z, is that you again?
Hi, it's me.
Go ahead, sir.
Hi, Kane.
What's up, Z? How are you doing?
Kane, you and I, we are brothers. We come from the same team, Black Eye, so I am going to hook you up with some technology that's going to help you with the bad 3-7 matchups and defend the EVO Marvel Championship. And I learned this new technology from the previous guest on the show. It is called... Are you listening, sir? Are you listening?
I'm listening.
With your hands on the TE2 joystick. It is called the Plink Dine and Dash. Plink Dine Dash. Let me give you the input. You eat, and then you run. You make like Rose, and you run.
There you have it, gentlemen. Z is encouraging that if you don't have the money to pay for your meal...
That's 2016. Actually, I have my real question is this. Do you feel that it is ironic that Street Fighter, all that we have come to love about the lore, is about a character that wanders around the earth, no shoes, a dirty vagabond with his sleeping bag, with the sole intention of getting stronger and stronger. And we idolize Ryu. Our entire Capcom universe is based on him. However, when someone like you cosplays Ryu in real life, he is condemned for being a real vagabond bum. I don't like that about the FGC. I think this is a great indictment there's a huge irony. If we're going to worship Ryu, we should also worship King Blueriver. That's all I got.
Some people do worship Kane Blueriver.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not without his fans. I mean, you shouted out your Evo victory to Chile. Obviously, the Latin American fighting game scene, in some sense, looks up to you as someone who's won Evo. So,
what you got, KBR?
I honestly don't know. Don't understand. The only thing I know is that maybe I'm pretty sure that Ryu has less monetary needs because he has one of those black credit cards associated to the account of his best friend, which allows him to have pretty much an unlimited amount of money for whatever he needs, which is not much, but he doesn't have to worry about that, so he can solely focus on training and improving, which is something I can't do.
Well, speaking of monetary needs, you got a little bit of flack for talking about how Daigo donating his Capcom Cup winnings to charity wasn't that big of a deal. Can you elaborate on that in order to clear people's perceptions of what you said, or just say what you said again?
Actually, I didn't see me getting flack from that. I've gotten that was barely a couple of things compared to way bigger flack I've gotten from other stuff. But from there, I basically feel that's more of a PR move than anything else. I'm pretty sure whoever manages him or something
told him to do that. You think somebody told him to donate it?
Maybe it's smart enough, as a PR move, and maybe the person maybe him himself can realize it's actually an investment in the long term that will probably giving bigger rewards in the future.
Have you met Daigo?
I've never actually talked with him. We've crossed paths a couple of times, but I'm pretty sure I've never talked a word with him.
I'm just wondering why you feel like there's no potential that he just did it out of the good of his heart, I guess. That's my question.
There is a potential, but I don't know. I just feel it's something I don't like about Daigo, from before. It's just that makes me kind of suspicious. I feel that a lot of the things he says are geared for more than people, but it's stuff that I feel he doesn't know from experience, or as I put it a long time ago, and someone from Seattle always remembers. I said Daigo doesn't know the struggle. I think Daigo never went through the part of actually being a bad player and having to step it up and having to get out work the way up. He started more up there because of how I feel he's a natural.
We have a question for you from the another call, and this one might be a little more up your alley. It is a question about matchups. James, are you on the line? Sorry to keep you waiting so long.
That's all right. Yeah, I'm here.
James, you're on the air. You're live. KBR is eagerly anticipating your question.
Okay, can you everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Okay. My question is, I don't know a whole lot of the depth of strategy in Marvel, but there's one matchup, Hager versus Magneto, where I had heard or even saw at a previous Evo that he can just repel Hager with Magneto's repulsing move. I'm not even sure how that move works in total, but basically, after the matchup was announced, you versus Filipino champ, he got on there on his Twitter and said, "Look, I'm just going to keep repulsing Hager, and you can call it other characters, and I'm going to snap." Well, he didn't say that, but other people did. Basically, I got kind of discouraged, wow, this Hager Hulk Sentinel team, how can he win with it? But then somebody on Twitter mentioned, well, look, Jan had almost the same team. I think he had Shula instead of Sentinel at the end, and he was really taking it to F-Champ. I don't know if he won. Basically, I didn't see F-Champ even use a repulsion move against Jan. I guess Jan knew something about how to counter that. But can you shed some light on that? Is that a beatable tactic? But can Hager or your team do something about that, or is that a wash?
I like this question. It allows me to shed some light on misinformation that has been spread for a really, really long time. Basically, what repulsion does is basically pulls you away. And Magneto can pull you away, can pull you towards him, or can pull you down to the ground. This in particular is the one that pulls you away. And since Magneto has no like special air movement options or moves that move him forward quickly, teleports, people tend to think, and because F.Champ and other Magneto players have done to certain Haggard players, they think that this is basically unbeatable. But actually, I thought about putting a video, but I've been kind of busy these days, preparing like the arranging for the trip and preparing everything. That I haven't been able to put up the video. But basically, if it just takes having good plink dashing, and Haggard can perfectly reach Magneto and even punish for that. So it's not unbeatable. It's just that most Haggard players have really, really bad plink dashing, really bad like that kind of execution. The only Haggard player that I know that has like really, 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 really good plink dashing is Ramasama.
Interesting.
But I've been seeing that, taking that in training mode and stuff. I know for a long time that you can basically just plink your way in and even punish Magneto for it.
James, thank you very much for your question. KBR, we're going to be looking forward to that tech video that you're saying you're going to put on. We have another call for you. The calls are just rolling in. This is somebody by the name of Justin. Justin, can you hear us?
Hello, guys. This is Justin Wong.
Hey, Justin, how's it going, buddy? Is this the real Justin Wong?
What's up? This is the real Justin Wong. I have a question. So pretty much I watch a lot of KBR streams, and he has a lot of sessions in Marvel's Capcom 3 with the local talent. My question is, why do you keep downplaying your scene, saying how it's lack of resources, you get worse, but your training partner, Moises, is really good and has beaten you in many of the tournaments in South America?
Is that it?
That is my question.
Okay. Okay. To be, I've only lost to Moises like one. I've only lost to Moises on that tournament that happened last weekend or 2 weeks ago. That's the first time I lose to Moises in like a big tournament or even middle-sized tournament. But basically, he's the only one that cares here, and he even told me that now he understands how I feel, because after he played like with Gene and Axel, who were the Peruvian guys that won and got third place, and whenever he plays like he played them, and then coming back and playing the people here, he realized what I mean about the lack of resources and the lack of people. People here just don't have the drive. People here just don't care. Like people here, I have to force people to basically come here and play with me, pretty much. If I don't do that, that won't happen. If I go to the local venue, people won't try to play me. I have to force my way into to play people, and if outside of Moises, like I pretty much just go over everyone. But I'm a different kind of player too. I'm a player that constantly needs the high level training, the pressure of the tournaments to be able to keep myself sharp. And if I don't have that, I get worse, because the constant practice is the only way I can keep being good, or I can become stronger. If I don't have that, I become weaker, and you can see that, and that you've been seeing me play, and you can see that's definitely not how I was playing while I was in the States playing in the majors. So that's what happens. It's just that the people here have got no drive. Like only recently the Guilty Gear community, like they're working on they're different. So I'm really looking forward for stuff from them here. Only recently the Street Fighter 4 scene has been changing, because for the most part it was the same players for like for like almost all the life of Street Fighter 4, winning almost everything, and then whenever they had to go out and face any other competition, they didn't do well, and it was always the same. And only recently that's starting to change. So I'm disheartened. I've been disheartened for a long while, honestly, with the scene here. When I wasn't a known name, I tried doing things to improve my scene, and nobody cared, nobody listened, and I tried for a long time, and now I'm at that point where I have, I think it's a lost cause, so I might as well just worry about myself.
Does that answer your question, Justin?
Yeah, it does, but I see people come to your house, not just Moises, also Lorca and like another Morgan Doom player. I feel like since they played 10 hours with you on your stream, like a lot, like long sessions, I see that they are trying. There's no way if you're not trying, you're going to play 100 games. You know what I mean?
I'm willing to play the 100 games. These guys also get tired pretty easily, and Lorca is only at times, like whenever, like he only gets the thing back whenever there's like an important thing soon, and the same with the other guy, which are like the B tier local player, like some of the B tier local players, and it's like, and it happens like once or twice, then they get disheartened and doesn't happen again until there's another big thing coming. It's not as often as you put it.
There you go. Justin, I appreciate you calling in, and as another one of, commonly known as a Marvel God, giving your opinion on things. Thank you for calling.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to go to another caller. We're running out of time here, guys, so we're going to try to get through some of these next calls. We might not get to everybody, but our next call is coming from Manuel. Manuel, are you on the line? Can you hear us?
Hello, yes, I'm on the line. How are you?
We're doing fine, Manuel. You're live on the air, and KBR is here waiting to hear your question.
Okay, KPR, I want to know this one question. Why do you always shit on the Latin American community? I always hear from my friends that the Latin American community is not treated very kindly by you.
Well, that's not true. I saw KBR, proudly waving that Chilean flag before, and it seems like he's repping his region quite well.
No, actually, I did not.
But that might
okay, that was
be
somebody
good.
else. Sorry.
But I have many friends in Puerto Rico, and they all say KBR is not very friendly to them.
KBR, do you have a response to that? We'll take the answer off the air. Thank you, Manuel, for the call.
Honestly, I don't know, which players are they talking about. I've had issues with people. I think it's a particular thing of certain regions, because I've always said I don't play repping a country or a region, especially like a country that never supported me when I needed it, or a region that never supported me when I needed it. It's something I've always said. I actually, I always got flag for that, especially after Evo, because I refused to take the flag up with me after I won the Chilean flag, because there's some guys, there's a group of people that always travels around, and it's always on first row waving the flag, and they wanted me to pick it up, and I didn't do it, because that's why I always felt, and they all know that, because it's all people I've known for quite a while. But the thing with Latin America, I've had certain issues with people in some regions, but with other people I get along just fine. I have great friends in different regions. I'm pretty close with the Peruvian players. I have good friends in Brazil. I have good friends in Mexico. I had good friends in Costa Rica. So I don't know, there are things I don't like about the overall play style of fighting games in Latin America, because but that's more of a personal point of view, but people confuse that with me not liking the region, which is a different thing. Most of Latin American fighting game style comes like from arcade style learning, which is more like less based on knowledge, and education is more like natural talent and reactions and instinct. And that's something I don't like, because I feel that favors natural players more. But I've never had like personal issues with people outside very particular bad experience that I had once in Mexico. But that's pretty much it. And if this person says I didn't treat well some players from Puerto Rico, I don't know.
Well, the caller said, I've heard, so they didn't give any concrete examples, so I don't think that we need to bother with that. We have one final call for you.
Okay.
And that won't be necessarily the end of the interview, but we're going to get to this call. Ryan, you're on the air. Can you hear us?
Yes, I could hear you guys.
Please introduce yourself so that everybody knows who you are.
This is F.Champ.
Okay.
This is KBR's daddy. So I would like to ask him a question. My question is, I heard that from the grapevine that he doesn't even care about my match against him, because apparently he feels like he's just going to lose. And the only reason why he's doing it is because Big E, which is a very nice guy, bought him a free ticket to Winter Ball to play me. He said that's the only reason why he's playing me, because he got a free ticket out of it. Like, I feel like that's just not like a very champion-like type of attitude. Like, you're gonna play somebody, you're gonna have the balls to just to fight people, just because you want to be the champion that you are. But like, I can't believe you just only did it because for a free flight.
KBR, that's not
like,
true.
So
is
you
it?
would have done it for a free food?
Can you defend that, KBR? What F.Champ is saying?
Or do you want to?
I don't have much to say. Like, in particular, I'm always looking forward to the opportunity of playing such a good, like, a player of that caliber. But in particular to him, I won't like to do anything that like will give me any immediate attention to him because of why I already expressed earlier in the interview. But since I was given the opportunity, I was definitely going to take it. That's it. That's very much it.
F.Champ, if somebody offered you money, you wouldn't take that, F.Champ? If somebody said, "Hey, show up and we're going to pay for your ticket," and you just all you have to do is exhibition match, you wouldn't take that?
Look, I don't have I don't any of those. Look, now, nobody paid me for my type. Okay, I did it for the love of the game. There's money along. I did it for the love of the game. I'm in case for free. Didn't ask for any compensation. I don't like build the hype. I'm doing it for the love of the game. The Marvel community that's willing to fight anybody. You know, I'm not gonna like get your like him. He did well until he was on ego. Decided to go back home and
Champ,
Ryan, we cannot hear you.
Yeah, you're breaking out, but these are some of the things I was able to hear. That you should do it for the love of the game, okay. That it's for the good of the community, and that I presumably that it shouldn't be for the paycheck. Is that roughly what you're saying?
I'm saying when I played baseball, I didn't have any concern or anything. I did it for the love of the game and the show. I think in football, I'm in K-Star, but I'm for my station, for everything else. And I didn't get any compensation for that. All I did was I'm going for the community that I should be for.
Champ, I'm really sorry to say this, but I'm really sorry to say this, Champ, but we're having a hard time understanding what you're saying. For some reason, there's a little bit of a skip or a lag. If you'd like to type into the chat what you're trying to say, I'd be happy to reiterate it for you. But I'll take it from here just to see if I can get your question answered as I understood it. KBR, the idea that it should be for the love of the game and not for a paycheck, your thoughts on that?
I do a ton of stuff for the love of the game. I've done a ton of stuff for the love of the game. The thing is that a lot of people are somehow convinced that doing things for the game means doing things for people that want to watch the game. And for me, the things I do are for the people that play the game, and the people that play the game that are the actual people that go to majors, not necessarily the players that stand out on top, but everyone else. Those players can you ask most of those players, and most of them can confirm to you if they've seen me at any major while I've been doing my road to Evo pretty much. That I've always been willing to talk with them, spend time with them, play with them, share whatever I can with them, help them in any way I can. Because for me, that's what's doing things for the law of the game, like doing stuff for the people that play this game. Those are the people that keep this game alive, and they can tell you that I'm willing to stay up late, even when I shouldn't, just to play more people, or just to hang out, or just to talk. And so I don't think like I was everywhere pretty much on the 4 months leading up to Evo last year, and I didn't see F.A.N.G going out too much. So I know why is he saying I don't do stuff for the love of the game, because if it wasn't for that, I won't travel across the whole country or the whole world to play the game.
And personally, I can echo that sentiment to some degree. I mean, I've talked with Nicolas at various tournaments about the game. Played with him back when I used to play. I guess the question I'm leading into, outside of any controversy, is you talk about loving the game and playing it with everybody. How do you feel? And you've mentioned how important the 2016 season is to you. How do you feel about the future of Marvel? Is this the last Evo that it'll be at? Is this the biggest tournament left? Where do you think Marvel will be after that?
I feel Marvel has a pretty unique player base, and as long as there's no game to share that player base with, Marvel 3 will still be around. So as long as there's no replacement game, I'm pretty sure we'll keep seeing Marvel at all majors, including Evo.
Well, there you have it, guys. KBR, I feel like we beat the shit out of you in this interview, and I apologize for that. That was not the expressed intention. Is there anything you would like to talk about before we wrap up the show that you didn't get a chance to talk about? Perhaps something positive?
Not much, really. Just thanks to the people that made it possible for me to have a new opportunity this season. I'm definitely looking forward to do better in Marvel and do well in other games, of course, especially Street Fighter V. Thanks to the people that have supported me all the way, especially the one closest to me, my family, my girlfriend, my close friends, and thanks to both of you for the opportunity of having me here.
Mm-hmm. So, wait, I just want to know, are you excited that Marvel is in that lineup for Evo?
I never had that thought it will be there.
You think you can defend your title?
It's going to be difficult. I really hope. Before Winter Roll, I'll have a week and a half of time to get back into shape, and if the new options I've been working on can help me, they prove to be useful, I will definitely have more than just a slim chance to defend the title. Well, but honestly, for me, defending the title is not as important as improving, because of what I say, you can not be the best and win tournaments, even Evo, without being the best. But if you're truly the best, you will win everything that comes in front of you. But winning should not be the goal; it should be a consequence of your work towards improving. And you see, when you see such a dominant player, that whenever you ask who the best player in this field is, you have no other option to answer but that given player. Like, for example, Zero in Smash 4, or Justin during Marvel 2 days, or Mysterio during in KOF 13 for last year. So that's my goal.
Well, there you have it. KBR, thank you very much for coming on the show. We appreciate you answering all those questions and fielding questions again from some of your peers in the Marvel universe. If you want to see KBR doing that 1 to 15 versus F-Champ, that'll be at Winter Brawl, which is later this month. It's a Biggie gaming tournament, so you can watch it on his stream. KBR, once again, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity again.
Suerte. All right. Coming up later on Capcom Pro Talk, they're going to be revealing the new structure for the tournaments for Capcom Pro Talk. Next week, here on this show, we will be discussing that, but also we're going to be having a very exciting Street Fighter V day where your boy, Donka Schiller, will be breaking apart Street Fighter V. I know you've been... Exactly, yeah. We're really excited about that. So join us again next week because we're going to be really excited to be playing that game. Maybe we can even have some people coming in. What you got?
I guess one thing is that, and I think it was a problem for Chris G at one point, and I think he's gotten totally over it. I think it's a problem for Kane now, is just speaking when you don't need to necessarily. And I don't mean that in any negative way. I mean that in the fact that sometimes when you get called out, sometimes when people say something, there's no real necessity to respond. Obviously, he is the EVO champion. People have parroted this over and over again. That's it. The Japanese players come here, they win. People respect them when they win. They don't necessarily shit on them when they lose. Mm-hmm. I think, being able to speak English has often made people feel required to answer stuff that they don't necessarily need to. Come out and play the game. Obviously, people like their drama. Obviously, this is ending in a money match. It's going to be really hype for everyone to watch. But I don't think people need to get so bundled in it, personally. But maybe they like to, so I don't know.
There you go.
As Efren said, Street Fighter V comes out next week, and we'll be playing it here on the show. Mm-hmm. I'd like suggestions on what people want to see. I feel like I know a fair amount about the game so far, and I've been reading up on it. So looking forward to that.
We're really excited about that. If you tune in at this time tomorrow, you will see a Dota show hosted by our very own Ian Barker, who was kind enough to screen calls for this show. And you should stick around because we don't only do FGC talk shows, although this is the only one that Donka and I are on. We also cover League of Legends, we cover Dota, and Smash Brothers, which I know you guys love. So, thank you very much for watching Best of 3. Shout-outs to our panel, Raptor and Ace King Offsuit. Shout-outs to Triforce for coming on the show. Definitely shout-outs to KBR. And thanks to everybody else who helps us make this production happen, including Will, our technical director. Take us out, buddy.